Ever feel like your money just disappears each month? It happens fast. A few subscriptions here, an impulse buy there, and suddenly the numbers in your bank account don't match the numbers in your head. Rocket Money helps you get clarity, track every dollar, and stay in control of your finances, because managing money shouldn't feel like a second job. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting so you don't have to, and you can save more, stress less, take control of your finances, and cancel your unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. What's up, Leroy?
What's happening?
Leroy, I was talking with Herm Edwards the other day, and he was trash talking you, man.
Really?
I'm just messing.
I doubt it.
I'm just messing around. He actually spoke very highly of you.
You know what's crazy? I played hard. I never got in any fights. I never, talked a whole bunch of trash, and I got along with everybody, which is weird. Like, usually a guy that hurts people or plays physical doesn't necessarily get along with everybody, but I did.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you blame the offensive line, Leroy, for the struggles of the running game? Is it all the offensive line here? What do you see?
Yeah, here's the hardest thing for all of us to do as fans and to do as players and as organizations. We make assumptions that the good we had last year is going to carry over to next year. Right?
Yeah.
Somebody might get a hammy hurt. Somebody back might lock up. Somebody might just be getting older, and it's not the same. And now you're depending on a group that you thought was going to play the same as they did last year, and they're not. Because contrary to popular belief, if you don't have it all going at the same time, you're probably, the parts that you have that are going good probably aren't going to be good by the time you catch up with the rest of your team. Case in point, the defense. And teams that have great defense that can't score. When they finally fix the offense, what happens? Your defense start giving up 30.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's the part of this offensive line has been a staple for since Nick Chubb's rookie year, that you could depend on them moving bodies. Now, for whatever reason, it's not the same. And to expect it to just be the same over and over and over a year. And that's why coaches have to adjust how they do things also. Simply because, we don't have the same offensive line we had. How are we going to, adjust just a little? Maybe roll our quarterback out. Maybe run more counter stuff. Maybe do stuff to have the defensive line standing still so our offensive line can get on them with movements and stuff like that. You got to work with it because, football's not, stagnant. Like, it's not the same year after year after year. Even teams that are always in the hunt do it differently every year. Like, you look at Kansas City.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, they went from being a dominant offensive team to just winning football games. A multitude of ways. Then the defense got really good. Then we started having questions about the offense not being explosive.
Leroy, I want to ask you this question because obviously you're an offensive dude, and as I watch and me being a defensive minded type individual, as a defender, I always loved when an offense didn't threaten us, right? If I'm not threatened, if I feel like our defensive front, we can stop the run with 4. If I feel like we can get home with 4. If I feel like we can do that up where we are and win in the trenches, it then eliminates a lot of the things that may open some things up because now I don't have to commit other people to the run game. I don't have to commit linebackers. We don't got to bet on them play action.
Right.
Talk about it from an offensive perspective of the goal of how do you guys want to go attack defenses to be able to threaten them a lot of ways, especially with just the running game, And given the fact that right now the quarterback is rushed for 24 yards, well, how does that hamper an offense if you just can't run the ball and there's no threat at all?
Well, the one of the things that you said is we look at it kind of the same way. Like for us, if you have to bring 6, 7 guys, if you have to walk a safety down to stop the run, we win it. Right? Because now our whole offense is open. But if we can't block 4 or 5 guys and you can drop 6 or 7, it becomes more difficult to do anything, especially for a young quarterback. Right? Because, you know, if you're a veteran quarterback and they drop 7, you can move a couple of guys with your eyes. You know where everybody is. You can do a little no look, you know, that a lot of guys do because there's so many bodies in the secondary. If they can stop you with 4 or 5 guys, it's usually going to be a long day because you're not controlling the trenches. Conversely, you look at the Browns defense. When they can get those forefront guys after you, they can do all kind of crazy stuff in the secondary. And so it's basically a fundamental of football. It's not just with any offense, it's with all offenses. How many guys can we force you to bring down in the box? And some guys with, say, for example, with Shedeur, they're going to say, you know what? We're going to put 8 men in the box and make you beat us. Or we're going to line up like we got 8 men in the box and then drop 3 guys back. We're going to do stuff like that to kind of get you out of your comfort zone. So it's important to be able to establish the run. And I would say for some teams, especially this team, it's more important to have a number of carries. Like if I can look at a Browns game and see 30, 35 carries, you've done a good enough job up front. But when I see 35 passes and 20 runs, that means you putting everybody in a very uncomfortable situation, including a young quarterback.
Try to evaluate Quinshon Judkins. We thought we had something the last couple of weeks. It's just been an absolute disaster. 12 carries, 21 yards. Personally, I think there's a whole lot more there than that. How much of this is Judkins being a rookie and not finding his legs yet? How much of this is the fact that the offensive line, on most carries, he's hit behind the line of scrimmage, which is stunning to me.
That's right.
Where are we with Quinshon?
Could be a little bit of both, but I would like to say this about it's the number of carries. Okay. If he had 20 carries for 30 yards, I'd say okay. But 12 carries means they got you out of the run game. Right? Simply because, like, when you rush the football, we making it sound like you got 12 carries, you average 4 yards a carry, you got 48 yards. Right? No. It's usually 1 carry for 20 yards and the other 11 carries for 28 yards. Like, but you don't know when that's going to come, so you have to be in a situation where you can stick with it. And hopefully one breaks. You very rarely, think about this, you very rarely going to see a team that has a running back that runs the ball for 30, that runs the ball 25, 30 times. That's not going to say they didn't control the line of scrimmage. And it's because you allowed them to run the ball that much. So when I see he only has 12 carries, the first thing I'm thinking of, well, they must have got him out of the run game, either with the score, the situation. A lot of times he got the ball and it was 2nd and 12, which is like, dude, you can't even rush social distancing, right? You know what I mean? Think about this. His average carry was just taking the ball, holding it above his head, and falling down. Man. So, right. Like, just to put it in perspective, and I used to always tell I used to always say to my coach, "What's 3 times 4?" Right.
Well,
so don't be upset with 2nd and 7.
Right. If you can average 3,
And
you
right,
win the stakes.
but I used to, and you know where I learned this from? Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
When Bill first came in, he made me watch a film of all of Emmitt Smith's runs from the previous year. And he said, "What did you notice?" Well, he ran for 1,600 yards, 1,500, 1,600 yards. His longest carry, his longest rush was 25 yards. And so, second, there's nothing wrong with 2nd and 7. If you run the ball to stay ahead of the chains and you end up in 2nd and 12, now we got problems.
Right.
And I think that's what's been happening to the Browns is that now you put everybody in an awkward situation because now Q can't even be on the field. You know what I mean? We know you ain't running it.
Yeah, you out of here.
And so, right.
Yeah, Leroy, is it true that Bill Belichick is now sending you video of his girlfriend's cheerleading to watch?
This man.
No, dude, I ain't got that.
I mean, she was at a cheerleading tournament. You weren't
Hey.
into that?
Hey, look,
Hey,
Washing your
look,
hands of it?
do you
My name's
like?
Paul. It's on you
Like,
all.
listen, I'm gonna just say this:
Yeah.
my relationship with Bill Belichick was strong 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I like what he's doing now.
Gross.
Like, if he happy, good for him.
Nah, it's gross.
But I don't get caught up in that. I don't get caught up in all the other people's business.
What was your
That's why
thoughts?
you got along with everybody.
look. Hey, Leroy's like, yeah. I don't even know about that,
Leroy,
dog.
I don't know if I've ever asked you about when the Browns moved on for Bernie. What was your reaction to that?
Oh, I was, man. Goodness. I think I might have been the saddest guy.
Yeah.
My relationship with Bernie, I was getting, look, we had our own little special thing. I didn't really have no route tree. I just had a little look. Hey,
Yeah.
Bernie turned around and looked. I knew what that meant.
Yeah.
Go catch you a pass, big fella. It's them, nothing against Vinny. He just did things differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I understand why it happened, right? Like, what Bernie did when he played football is he did whatever he could to win. And when you think about his arm strength, nobody ever questioned his arm strength because he always got the ball where it needed to be. And you had to watch and be a part of it to understand that maybe he didn't look like your typical quarterback
Yeah, he
with
definitely
how he
At all.
ran around.
At all.
Right.
At all.
But when it was time to throw a pass, did you ever say, whew, man, it always seemed to get there.
That's true.
I used to tell him, man, if I ran a 10-yard out, he had to throw it yesterday at lunch. I'd catch it tomorrow at dinner. But it was there. Right? but that's
because he was so smart.
Right. And so, like, he was a football player that understood what he could and couldn't do and did things accordingly to be successful.
Yeah, that's an.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, your
Right.
limitations. By the way, Bernie
Right.
texted me earlier this morning. He is out of the hospital.
It's back out.
So
Good.
he is out again. So
Yes.
Bernie,
Yeah.
keep chugging, man. Keep doing it.
Leroy, I
Yeah.
gotta ask you. Big Ten, you know what I'm saying? Shout out.
Yeah.
I ain't going where you think I'm gonna go. So don't even worry about that. What I am gonna ask you is,
So many things I could say.
yeah, right there. Right?
Oh,
See,
I'll
this
leave
is
it.
why.
I'll leave it. I'll leave
This
it.
is why.
Let me just say this. I can separate, and I've done this my whole life. I separate the art from the artist.
Yeah.
People make mistakes, and people do crazy things outside of their character.
Right.
But here's what I want to say about that frustrated me more than anything.
Okay.
In 250 years, of college football between Michigan and Ohio State. That was the first black coach for either of them.
Yep.
That's
And
crazy.
I did not want – I wanted to see him have a run.
Yeah.
If only for that reason. Right?
No,
now,
that's absolutely fair.
I know what had to happen. And I understood it. And I was just sad for the situation.
Yeah.
Sad for all the parties involved.
Yeah, it is.
Sad for his family. Sad for him. I hope he gets through it. I hope his family gets through it.
Mm-hmm.
I hope my school gets through it, and we can move on from there. But I was just sad. It just unfortunate.
Yeah,
It's a good way of framing it.
Look, they wanted. You know how many interviews I got requests to be like, "Hey, you want to come talk?" I say, "No. Listen, I'm cool. I'm sitting this one out.
Right.
I'm cool."
Right.
I want to ask you. I was going another Big Ten route. You see Mendoza, right? You see?
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you draft him? Would you draft him? You know you weren't gonna come up on here and not good. No. What you think about him? Would you draft him?
Can I say this?
Okay.
He has a lot of the qualities of both Shedeur and Cam Ward, with a little more polish in it. Mm-hmm. That between all those guys, you put them on a football field, they're going to make plays. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But between all of them, the thing that'll separate them all is when there's structured offense. That you don't have to go out and run around and make a play all the time. Sometimes you got to sit in that pocket, make a read, and make a throw. And for young quarterbacks, that's the hardest thing to do, to maneuver in the tight spaces in the pocket and still be able to keep your eyes downfield and make an accurate throw. Sometimes that takes time because you've always been able to run around and make plays. And so that's what you revert to when things are hectic.
Yeah, and really kind of going back to what you said about Bernie, knowing your limitations. I think the
Correct.
guy of the three that you mentioned, I think the guy that understands his limitations and limits his mistakes. Of course all of these guys can make plays. They had great success at college. They're playmakers. I'm not surprised Shedeur Sanders has had success with the deep ball. He's a playmaker.
Right.
I think what defines quarterbacks is your bad sample. Can you limit your mistakes? Can you understand your limitations and play within them? Bernie Kosar. It's a perfect example.
Correct. It's the thing that I hope that, and I think I texted Jay this a couple of weeks ago. Dylan Gabriel plays quarterback, right? He looks the part. He drops back. Ball is in a perfect position. Motion's great. Sits back, sits in the pocket. That picture right there.
Yeah.
He looks like a quarterback. Shedeur plays football. Yeah. Shedeur plays football. And somewhere in between those two guys is a hell of a quarterback. Now, I will say this. It's easier for Shedeur to get to that point because he is a football player that makes plays than it is for Dylan Gabriel to go up to that spot.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
And so from that standpoint, that's why you see and you've seen early Shedeur move a little bit but keep his eyes downfield because he's trying to make a play. And make some plays and be accurate on the run and do a lot of good things. The thing that terrifies you is he trying to make a play. And it's that structure part of it that's going to stop him from just chucking it up.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, Jameis a little bit.
Or trying too hard to make a play. You got to know when. And that's kind of where he needs to go. But as far as watching him play, there's nothing about Shedeur that doesn't say, yeah, I got a chance to win. Right? He's going to do something special. It's just that in this league, when you don't do something special and you do something on the other side of that, like throw an interception, there's far more consequences at this level than there was at his last level.
No, Leroy, listen, why would you mess up that whole good? That was a soundbite right there. We were supposed to clip you right there, and we were supposed to put that on the internet. We weren't supposed to go no further than that. That's exactly, no, I'm playing with you.
Hey, but I've always, look, the thing is that people could always have a problem with how I say things, but I'm just trying to give an honest anscer. Like, that's the reality.
Unfortunately,
that's
Leroy,
the reality of it.
A lot of people don't want honest
answers. People selectively hear.
Yeah.
They will disregard 98% of what you say.
I thought that was pretty high.
I thought he was in on the 2% they don't like.
I thought you were very high right there. I said, oh, the thing that I drilled down on is you said there's not a time where you don't think I can win. Because when I watch the games, I come away. It ain't perfect all the time, but there's not a time where I look and be like, oh no, we could do that. Okay, I got some hope.
Right. Now I will say this. my old wise veteran wide receivers and guys catching the ball, help a brother out. Help him out.
Kidding.
Help your young guy. Help your young guy out. And that's one of the things that would help the situation a lot more. Is that what we need to do maybe a little bit extra to help our young quarterback out. That has always been the case. Usually you have a couple of, if you have a young quarterback with some veteran wide receivers, they can work through a lot of stuff.
Thanks, Leroy.
Leroy, Merry Christmas, brother.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Hey, is it cold up there? Because I'm going to tell you, it might be colder down. It might be colder down here.
Yeah,
actually,
no,
it's supposed to be.
It's actually going to be 50 today.
No, mid-40s today, mid-50s tomorrow.
Yeah, hey, I'm taking it.
I'm talking about at the quarterback position. They benching Tua, right?
Yeah.
I heard. Yeah, I did. I heard
Dolphins will be drafting a quarterback next year.
Yeah, they will.
You think?
No, they won't. No, they won't.
Well, right
no,
now
they
they're
won't.
going to be after us. So
yeah, they ain't gonna draft the
first,
quarterback.
we'll
They got. If they get rid of Tua, it's gonna cost them $90 million.
Ooh.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, we know about
exactly.
Yeah, we ain't going nowhere.
Right.
We cool.
You made your bed. Now you got to sleep in it. Leroy, thanks, man. Merry
That's
Christmas.
it.
We'll
All right. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yeah.
All right.